Now, what we're going to do today is a little bit different than we do every Wednesday. It's obvious, it's a special day. Every Wednesday, we take a sikh and look at the sikhs and we learn. Today, instead of that, we're going to learn the Maimet Tzaver, Atat Tzaver, last Maimet that Rabbi gave out. And we'll also have this turn into Farbrengen in honor of Gimel Tamuz. So people Farbrengen already. Today, there was a whole thing and a lot of people were on. So people have other kinds of, there's so many things that you could go on and listen. Now the Zoom is Onashir, Nonabreg, Vigvul. Now they're having this, Novino is having all the night, not mamish all the night, but a few hours into the night, and tomorrow different shurim. So people are involved. But Baruch Hashem, it's. I think this Gimel Tamuz, the union of Gimel Tamuz, that hurts very much.
Just want to make a comment. They said this global thing is the biggest Zoom in the history of Zoom, the biggest audience, the biggest reach of Zoom in the history of Zoom.
How many people were on?
Not that people. So many.
Oh, so many places.
So many places are famous. The first time.
Who knows where in Farbrengen and Medinas. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll learn. I don't know exactly. I'm just thinking myself now out loud what to do. To learn the whole Maimer is going to take, I don't know, an hour and 50 minutes. So that's we don't want to. So what we'll do, maybe we'll learn half of the Maimer or part of the Maimer, and then the rest we'll just go into Farbrengen.
Is there a link to the Maimer somewhere?
Huh? First of all,
a link somewhere to the Maimer?
In Sefer HaMamorim, look. A link, Mr. There could be.
Well, I'm going to look for a link. I'll post it on chat. Just give me a minute.
Thank you.
Now, this is the Maimed that is equivalent to the Bossi Ligani from the Friedrich Rebbe, that the Rebbe said that this is his last Maimed. So this is like a tzavoy that the Friedrich Rebbe gave. It's interesting because Be'emes, the Friedrich Rebbe didn't write that Maimed then. This is old Maimed that he said years before. He just changed the posik and he gave it out for Yitzhak. But Lapel, since he gave it out for Yitzhak, the Rebbe said, this is the tzavoy. And there you have everything that you need, you'll find there. But the Rebbe also, the Rebbe did not write the Maimed. The Rebbe said this in Tavshim Aleph. It was mugi by the Rebbe as the last Maimed, and it's the last Maimed that the Rebbe Poshet gave out, Kuntraisim that he gave out. So it's Hashkocha Protis. It's also similar to that. It has there's someone already put up the Tzaveh here. You put it up, label, yeah? So you have that. You have that Tzaveh. He put on the. Anyway, so this is a very important Maimer. So, and it fits the Teichna Maimer also tells us what is the union of a Nasi Yisrael, what is a Moshe Rabbeinu, and this fits to what we have to do on Gimel Tamuz to realize what is the Rebbe. Okay, we'll start inside. The Atat Tzaveh B'nai Yisrael, the Eibusha told Moshe Rabbeinu, you shall command the Eden, the Yikcho Elech Hashem Zayizoch, and they should take to you olive oil, clear, Kosis Lamoyed, that was crushed in order to shine, Lahalo Isnei Tomi, to bring up the candle, the constant candle, which in portion of the words means that you should bring the oil to you that they will use on lighting the menorah. We know the kashas, the diukim and this posik. In all the times when they wish to command the different things, it says the Loshen Tzavez b'nei Yisrael. Hashem said to Moshe, Tzavez b'nei Yisrael, command the Eden. And here it says, Va'atat Tzavez b'nei Yisrael, you shall command the Eden. So this kasha is basically a kasha just on the Loshen. Why change the Loshen? Even if the meaning would be exactly the same, it would also be a kasha. Why is all of a sudden in this inyan he changes the expression? But Lahei said the Rebbe, I have to add that diuk mashikosav atat tzaveh. This that we made a diuk why it says atat tzaveh, not tzav. It's not only important in the expression, in the wording. Elagam ba'ateichen that has a different meaning. The loshen ba'atat tzaveh mashmer, the loshen of be'atat tzaveh, you shall command, seems to say shemesha hu hamitzaveh. Moshe is going to command. But we have to understand that Moshe is not commanding. Moshe is giving over what the Eibusha commanded. Why do you say you should command? So when it says Tzaveh B'nai Yisrael, doesn't mean it's your tzivui. Tzavas Israel, I'm telling you, command Eden, so you're a shliach of David. But when he stresses va'atot tetzaveh, it means it's your command. This is not Moshe Rabbeinu's command. It's David's command. So why does he say that? We also have to understand, Mashikosa, why does it say v'yichlei lecha? He should take to you, which means bring to you to Moshe the oil. Sheyavi Hashem the Moshe, that should bring the oil to Moshe. A lecha to you, the l'chure, kiv inshallah saneda soisal de arin. Since the lighting of the meneda was through arin, lo mehutzrach lohaves Hashem the Moshe. So why would they have to bring the oil to Moshe? Why you have to bring it to Moshe? Moshe will give it to arin. Bring it directly to arin. We also have to understand, Mashikosa, what it says in the posting, that this is going to be shemen, the game. It says shemen, zayizoch, olive oil, that's clear. And then the posting adds kosis lamoyer, which was crushed to shine. L'chure, he should have said shemen, etc. lahoyer. The kasha seems to be, he doesn't say it clearly, but it seems that he's asking two kashas. First of all, why is it mentioned b'chal it's crushed? Should have said this is oil that we'll use to light. Why does he have to tell you this is oil that was crushed? What's the crushed? And the second shaila is, why does it say la moyer? Moyer is the lighter, the luminary. La hoyer would be better. You should get oil to shine, oil to light. So there's two kashas here. Why does he mention b'chal kosis? What's the that it's crushed? And why is it la moyer, not la hoyer? We also have to understand the next posik it says, me erev ad beker. The menorah is going to be lit from evening to morning. But in this posuk it says, lahalis ner tomid, there's going to be a light, a candle that's constant. Now, I want to explain clearly. The kasha is not that it's a contradiction. See, people would think, it seems like it's a contradiction. Tomid means constant. And the other posuk it says from evening to morning is not constant. Not every second, it's not burning every second. So it's a contradiction. So I want to say it's not true. That's not the Rebbe's kasha. It's not a contradiction. Why? Because the word tummy that Asha says more than one place does not necessarily only mean when something is 24 hours, 7 days a week constantly. Sometimes it means that l'moshel, the lechem aponim, what it says in Posuk that it should be lechem aponim lefonai tomid. Yes, there was never a minute the shulchan did not have the lechem aponim. They used to put on Shabbos, take off the old one, put on the new ones. But they would first put on the new ones before they took off the old ones. So there shouldn't be a second without the lechem aponim. Their tomid means constant. But l'moshel, we say that they used to bring every day a korban tomid. When did they bring the korban tomid? One in the morning and one in the afternoon. It's not constant. Nevertheless, it's called tomid. So the fact that here it says tomid and here it says it's only mi'erev ad beker is not a contradiction. The shaili is Porsche. Why does it say here like this, here like this? It's no contradiction of psukim. But why change? And here he says mi'erev ad beker, and here it says tomid. Why does the posuk change it? Now the truth is, according to the Rambam held that you lit the menorah twice, once in the evening through the night and once in the morning through the day. That would fit more to tomid b'chlal as tomid. But anyway, the Rebbe doesn't go into that here. The Rebbe just asks, what's the reason for the difference in the lotion of the posuk? So the Friedrich Rebbe explains this, but my mother, how you do? And the famous maimer of the Friedrich Rebbe that started with the posuk the Kibbel Yehudim. Which the Friedrich Rebbe said, Purim Kotten Tofreish Pei Zayin, which was, he said it in Moscow. He came to Moscow then, and he said it. It's not even so clear in which shul he said it. It says he said it in the shul. It doesn't look like it was Marina Rosh shul, and it doesn't look like it was in the big shul, in that Achapovish shul. Whatever it is, I don't know exactly where it was, but he said it. And this mimer is one of the reasons that he was arrested later. This was Purim Kotten. He was arrested Tesvav Sivan, which is not longer. From Purim Kotten to Purim is 1 month, from Purim to Pesach is another month. 4 months later, he was arrested. He was warned by friends saying that you should know that the GEPU, which is equivalent to the KGB at that time, are going to have spies by you speaking in the shul. So be careful what you say. And the Friedrich Rebbe didn't care, and he spoke in the Maimer all about Mesiras Nefesh and things like that. And that was one of the reasons why they arrested him. So this is known as the famous Maimer. So that Maimer, the Friedrich Rebbe explains like this. It's Sivui, the concept of it Sivui, using the word Sivui, like over here. It says Titzave, that means connection. So besides the word Sivui means commandment, it also means connection. Because in Loshen Kodesh, Tzavse means to be united, to be close, to be connected. So he teaches the pasuk. That's the meaning of the pasuk. That you shall, Poshab Shot means you shall command the Yidden. But the way the Friedrich Rebbe teaches in the Maimer, the Tzava means connect. Shemeshe Makasher as Mechaber as Bnei Yisrael L'mein Sof. The Eibush is telling Moshe, Va'at the Tzava, you shall connect the Bnei Yisrael. You shall connect the Yidden. So, and this already answers one shaila. One of the shailas was, why does it say Va'at the Tzava? You shall command. It's not Moshe commanding. No, according to this shot, yeah, it's you. The Eibush is saying to Moshe, you shall, Tzava meaning connect the Yidden. To who? To the Eibishter. Now, if you look at Order 8, the Rebbe brings that in the Maimer from Tofrei Hayin Tes, he says that Loshen, that you shall connect the Yidden to the Eibishter. But in the Maimer of the Friedrich Rebbe, the Rebbe says here, he says the same thing, you will be Mekasher the Yidden, ve'eina meisif im Eresof. Doesn't say you'll connect the Yidden to the Eibishter. So what does he mean? Yeshleimar, the Maimer Mefarish, Shemeshe Mekasher as Bnei Yisrael Atzmon. Maybe in this Maimer he means that Moshe Rabbeinu connects all the Yidden themselves. And to the Lakam Sif Yud Aleph, in Sif Yud Aleph, the Rebbe connects it. That connecting to the Yidden to the Eibishter makes also that the Yidden should be connected with themselves. So maybe that's the Remes in the Friedrich Rebbe's Maimer. It doesn't say connect to Eir and Sof. But here in this Maimer, that's not how the Rebbe goes. The Rebbe is going that the Taich is Atat Tzaveh. You will connect, you should connect the Yidden to the Eibishter, to Eir and Sof. And then he adds, by Moshe Rabbeinu giving the hashpah to the Yidden Shemakasher Eisem Meir and Sof, that he connects the Yidden to Eir and Sof. Al Dezeh Nasa Yisrael Beisofa b'Moshe. So there's a Hisofa, there's something that Moshe gains. Moshe is the Mashpia, the Yidden are the Makabel. And Lepel Mamesh, when the Yidden, well, Moshe is Mashpia, this makes Moshe a Makabel from the Yidden. And the Rebbe explains it. Because Moshe Yisrael, because Moshe and the Yidden is the Dugma to a head and feet. That means like this. Klal Yisrael is like one big body. The body has many parts. Klal Yisrael has many Yidden. Just like the body has the feet and the hands and the heart and the head and all kinds of things. So the body of Klal Yisrael also has all this. And Moshe is the head and the Yidden are the feet. And he quotes a posik, Mishakosov, like it says, Moshe Rabbeinu said, the Loshen, Sheish Meis Elef Ragli Ha'om Asher Anochi Bikir, by 600,000 feet of the people that I am among them. So the Poshab shot, what does it mean, the feet? It's like, because the 600,000 Yidden were the 600,000 people who went to war, who were able to, Yetzitzobah from 20 to 60. Even nowadays, we call it foot soldiers. We call them foot. So he called Klal Yisrael the feet. And he said, I'm amongst the 600,000 Yidden. But Chassidus teaches that why does he use the word feet? Because the Kol Yisrael, Hema Raglayim to Moshe. All Yidden are the feet of Moshe. Moshe, who are Shelahem. And Moshe is the head. And we know that the head is Mashpia to the feet. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu is the Mashpia to the Yidden. But at the same time, the Rebbe wants to say from here, we see how the Yidden are Mashpia in Moshe. Because Moshe bought them just by a person. The feet give something to the head that the head can do. The head wants to go someplace it can't go. The only way it could go if the feet takes it. So the feet is adding. The same thing when we can say in the Moshe, in the Nimshleis, the Yidden and Moshe and the Yidden, Shadei Yisrael through the Yidden, which are Raglayim the Moshe, the feet of Moshe, Mitosef Ilu b'Moshe, that helps, brings a mile into Moshe, gives something to Moshe. So Masha Kosov. Now, based on this, he teaches another shot in this passage. It says here, Shei Shmeis Elef Ragli Yom Asher Anochi B'Kirbei. So Poshab Shat means 600,000 Yidden, that I meaning Moshe. Moshe is saying this, I am amongst them. But Chassidus teaches, the Rebbe teaches that the 600,000 people, Ayidei Ragli Hom, through these Raglayim, through the Yidden, Nimshech Hagilui De Anochi B'Kirbei Shel Moshe. This brings Anochi. Who's Anochi? Anochi Hashem Elokecha, goes on the Eibishter. The Yidden are Mashpia in Moshe Rabbeinu. So now he answers the kasha. So that's the pshat. Va'at etzav es bnei Yisrael. You shall not command. You shall connect the Yidden. Ve'yikchu elecha Hashem ezai. So now they'll take to you something that you don't have. Like we just said, that if Moshe is Mashpia to the Yidden make that Moshe has something that he doesn't have otherwise. Moshe connecting the Yidden to Ein Sof. They say, Yaviu b'nei Yisrael, Shem Ezayis l'Moshe, the Yidden will bring the Shem Ezayis to Moshe, like it says, V'yikrei lecho. What does it mean bringing Shem Ezayis? Sheyisifu teisas Eber Moshe. They will add Eber Moshe. Because Shem Ezayis is to make light, they add light to Moshe. So some of the kashas already in the Posik are answered. Now he says, Leib, I have to explain this even more. Magdim b'maimer, in order to explain this word that he says here, Magdim b'maimer is the key word here. The word Magdim. The Maimer is trying to explain what is the pshat that Moshe connects the Eden to the Eibishter, and that the Eden add to Moshe. That's the Atat Tzaveh. That's what he explains. To explain more that, he brings a Hakdome. Now, what's the klal usually? What is the pshat? The pshat is that you want to explain something. Sometimes you bring a Hakdome. Now, after the Hakdome, now based on this, we understand something that we said before. In this case, we will see that's not like that. He speaks about Atat Tzaveh, that Moshe connects the Eden, and Eden give Moshe a new air. Then he goes into explaining, in order to explain that, he explains this whole union, what we're going to say now. And then he goes back to explain the Posek. And there is no connection. We don't see the connection. That's going to be the Kash of the Maimer. I'm giving it a head start. He said, that's why I said the main word is the Magdim. These Apayas are Magdim. He's Magdim as if this is the Hakdome to what he's going to explain. What does he say in the Maimer? The Moshe Rabbeinu is called the Raya Mehem. Or if you use the Lashon Kodesh, Raya Mehem is Aramish. Zeya Lashon. Raya Nema. What does Raya Nema mean? Shnei Pirushim Bezer two pshat. One pshat is Raya Nema Shel Yisrael. He's the trustworthy shepherd of the Eden, which means he's the shepherd of the Eden. Now you can have a shepherd who you can't trust. You have a shepherd you could trust. Moshe is a shepherd. What's a shepherd? The leader. Just like the shepherd leads his flock, Moshe Rabbeinu leads the Eden. That's the Poshup pshat. He's a shepherd of the a trustworthy shepherd. Second pshat is the Shehuzon Hamapan Yisrael Binyan Amunah. The word is not Reya Nemon or Raya Mehem. The word should be Reya. He's the shepherd of Emunah. That means he feeds the Emunah to the Eden. The Hamun, the Sheyeshel Yisrael B'Tzatzman, the Emunah that every Yid has on his own. Yisrael Lemaminim, B'Nei no Yidden are believers. The children are believers, so they have Emunah. Efshe Sheti B'Pchinas Maki. It could be superficial. And once it's not superficial, it's not real. You believe it, it's not real. And I always chazer when Gemara says, a gamba pumachtat rachmon akari, a ganav could go steal and daven to the Eibishter, she'd be matzliach. So the guy has a mun, obviously. He's davening to the Eibishter. He believes there's an Eibishter. And at the same time, he's not listening, knowing that the Eibishter is right next to him. He believes the Eibishter is standing there. He davens quietly. So he doesn't want him to hear that he's davening that he should matzliach the gneva. So he obviously believes the Eibishter hears, even though he's quiet. The Eibishter is right there. So why does he steal? The answer is, he believes, but it's not internalized. It's superficial, yeah. It's not real to him. So, what is the pshat that Moshe feeds the Yidden the Amunah? It should be in the Pnimis, which means it should be internalized. It should be real. Like it says in the Zeh, the Amunah of above. That the Eibush is saying that through you, through Moshe, the Eden will get the Amunah. And what's the comparison? Why do we call it? We say Moshe feeds the Amunah, it means the Pnimis. Why is that called feeding? I should say he gives the Amunah B'Pnimis. Because what's the difference between food and clothes? Clothes is makit. Clothes surrounds you. It's not part, it's not internalized. Food goes in, becomes you. So when he wants to say that the Amunah is internalized, what do you internalize? It becomes part of you. We compare it to eating. So that's the pshat that he's a shepherd, which means a shepherd feeds his flock. Moshe Rabbeinu feeds the Eden Amunah that should be in the Pnimi. Then he goes right into the Maimer. This is that we said that Moshe Rabbeinu is the one that feeds the Amunah. It's not only Moshe Rabbeinu, the Moshe Rabbeinu, but it says in Tikkun Zayir, every generation there's a Moshe Rabbeinu. And every Moshe of every generation, this applies. The heads of the Eden of every generation, they strengthen the Amun of the Eden of their generation. So first he explains it by Moshe, and then he goes the same thing by every Moshe of every generation. Like we see by Mordechai. And why was he talking about Mordechai? Because this Maimer was said Purim Cotton, so it has to do with Mordechai. So he said, Shehoya is Pastrus of the Moshe B'Shabedera. He was the Moshe of that generation. Like the Chazal say, Mordechai B'Dera, Moshe B'Dera, that Mordechai in his generation was like Moshe Rabbeinu. Shagam Bisman Gzeira Soman. But also the time of the Gzeira, the decree of Haman, Shalima, that Teda became a mitzvah, also Yekosher and Mesiris Nefesh, learning Teda and doing mitzvahs was connected to Kosher Mesiris Nefesh. Nevertheless, he killed Kilos Barabim Lachazek Asemun also Yisrael Bavaya. He gathered Eden together and strengthened their Amunah. In the Eibishter, the Lamed Chazak Belima that Teda became a mitzvah to tell them and strengthen their Amunah to be strong in learning Teda and doing mitzvahs. So we see that by Mordechai we actually see what he did, that he strengthened the Amunah. It should be real Amunah by the Eden. That's what the Frierdiker Rebbe brings. After he explains that Moshe Rabbeinu and the Moshe of every generation strengthens the Amunah by the Eden, he goes back to the Mevaya Dirik Loshna Kosov Shemen Kosis Lamoyer. He explains, then he comes to explain why does it say Kosis Lamoyer Belayla Hoyer. The Kasha, yes, why Lamoyer not Lahoyer? So he explains because this Managolas, Kosis, it's Managolas, that's when everyone is broken. So the word Kosis crushed means Golas. Which is the Etzem Shurmenim. So if you crushed in Golas, and nevertheless, obviously, you do the right thing, you reach the Etzem. That's why it says Kosis Lamoyer. Kosis means through Kosis, through Golas, you go Lamoyer. So you have to understand Hashaych is the Apirish, because it's Lamoyer, Lamevur, Ba'mayim Lifneze. What's the connection between the Pshat Kosis Lamoyer that in Golas you are crushed and you reach the Moyer to what he said before that Moshe and his Pashtusa, the Leisha Bechol Dorim, Zonim Fanas Amunah should be in the Pnimis. Feeds the Amunah should be in the Pnimis. They have nothing to do. It's one Indian, Moshe connects the Eden. Then he says another Indian, Moshe Rabbeinu is Mechazik the Amunah, and Moshe of every generation. Then he says, oh, now we know that if you're crushed in Golas, you reach the Etzem. There's no connection here. And for the Maimonides, Mashma, they're disconnected because he gives this as a Hakdome. This whole union of Moshe and the Pashtus of the Moshe that they strengthen the Amunah is a Hakdome to understanding the other part of the Pasuk. First, he starts explaining the Atat Tetzaveh, you connect the Eden and you gain. Then he's going to explain the other part of the Pasuk, the Kosis Lamoyer. And then in the middle, to understand the other part of the Pasuk, he brings in the Maisa with Moshe Rabbeinu and the Pashtus. So what's the connection? So now he says like this. Remember this whole thing that he starts off explaining and asking kashas on Atat Tetzaveh and explaining that it's his connection comes. It's not the beginning of the Maimer. It comes the hemshech to what he says in the beginning of the Maimer. The beginning of the Maimer is the Pirush. It teaches there. Like he said in the beginning that Maimer started off with Kibul Yehudim. So he explains what is the pshat. Kibul Yehudim Asher Chayla Lasses. Eden accepted what they started doing. The pshat is Kibul Masher Chayla Bisman Matan Torah. That they did. They were makabel now what they started in the time of Matan Torah. What pshat? It's man, the Matan Torah is Haskola. Matan Torah was just the beginning. They started doing. Time of Achashverosh, time of the Gzeira of Haman, they were makabel. Which is, Alderech, Maimer Azal, see what this pshat is not from the Chazal. The Frierdiker Rebbe says the pshat. But we do find a similar pshat from the Chazal. They say on the other posting where it says, Kimu v'Kibul Yehudim, that the Yidden were Mekayim and Makabel. So the Chazal teach Kimu Mashakiblu Kvar. Now, by the time of Purim, they were fulfilling what they received amol. The Zeh Sheikdimu Nasal Nishma Matan Torah. I said Akakabolet. By Matan Torah, they said Nasa before Nishma. That's where they did Makabel. The Me'achashverosh Kimu Mashakiblu. They were Mekayim. And that simple pshat because by Matan Torah they were forced, so to speak, whatever pshat forced is to accept the Torah. So all the years they were able to give an excuse why we don't keep it because we never really meant to accept it. But by the time of Purim, then they really accepted it. That's the pshat in the Chazal, and that's the pshat here also. That the Pasuk says, Kibul Yehudim Asher Chayla Lasses. So the Frierdiker Rebbe brings this. The Frierdiker Rebbe, more in the beginning of the Maimer, asks Sakasha on this Inyan. And in Torah 24, the Rebbe says there's a deal in the Loshen Dvar Pele. A lot of times he says, I have a kasha, here he says, it's a Dvar Pele. Okay. So he says in the order here, look in a different Maimer of Shalom Ches, you'll see the reason. So he says it's a Dvar Pele, it's a modern strange thing. Matan Torah Yisrael b'tachas Yidin. If you make a cheshbon, the Matan Torah Yidin were in the highest madrege. Boy, that's some Gilui Lakus v'dargach in Eilis. They had the Lakus, Gilui Lakus in the highest level. The next of Lazesha Gam Kedem Matan Torah Yiluim Nailam B'Yisrael. Besides the fact that they were already Giluyim before Matan Torah. What did you have such Giluyim? Agilui shoy b'tzias Mitzrayim. Yitzias Mitzrayim is a gilui. How do we know there was a gilui Elokus Yitzias Mitzrayim? We say it in the Agode. Acha niglo aleim melech malchem lochem hakadosh baruch hu. David revealed himself by Yitzias Mitzrayim. Or befrad bekriyas Yamsuf was a greater gilui. It says they said zek keli v'anveyu. They were able to point. But the Chazal say that even the simple maid saw by kriyas Yamsuf more than the greatest Nevi'im saw. So there was a great gilui Elokus. So that's already before Matan Torah. Already they were at such a high level. So you can imagine what happened when Matan Torah was a greater gilui. Tanya says that Matan Torah was a gilui me'ein lo'asid lovei. So the Eden were high madrege u'b'me'ach hashveda. Show yourself b'tachas ha'yirida. Time of hashveda, the Eden were very low madrege. The nace of the hell of Hester shebechol golas. Besides the fact that every golas is a hell of a Hester, a concealment of a lakus. The whole golas of B'dukah is golas Mitzrayim. Every golus is like golus Mitzrayim. The Chazal say that all the golus are called Mitzrayim because they're all similar to Mitzrayim. So what does it mean? What's the negaya here? The similarity. Mitzrayim. It says they did not listen to Moshe because they had a shortness of breath, so to speak, and hard work. So they did not feel the lakus that's being given to them when Moshe spoke to them. That's Mitzrayim. But Aderach Zeh B'chol Golus, so too is in every Golus Sheyashnom Kamen. He's saying is the Kiva Torah Mitzvahs. So many tests on Torah Mitzvahs. That's all a concealment of Gilui Lakus. So in the Ozvis Man Gzeiros Homan Oya Hell of Hester Edyese. So then it was even a greater Hell of Hester. Now Afal Pikein is still Bisman Matan Torah Kishoy Yisov B'Tachas Hil in time. Matan Torah when they were in the High Madrege Hoyserak Haschol. There was only a beginning. Chilase. Man Gzeiros Homan. Time of Haman, Hashif was a very low. Then they did what they started from more than before. So Yasakasha, how was it going to be that when they were so low, they had more feeling of a lakus and accepting the Torah than when they had the greatest Gilui? Bais that the Friedrich explains that is one the mile of the time of Haman was that they had to do Mesiras Nefesh. Besides the fact that they had Mesiras Nefesh, not to deny in the Eibishter. It says in Torah, had a Yidden given up his religion, Haman wouldn't do anything to them. The Gzeira was only on the Yidden. And which Yidden? The Yidden are called Yehudim. And the Gemara says, well, who's called Yehudi? Who's made the B'chol HaTorah Kula. Kefer B'avei the Zora made the B'chol HaTorah Kula. Yehudi comes with Heidah, made it. So if a guy would be Kefer, with a denying the Eibishter, he's not a Yehudi anymore, he would be potter from the Gzeira. And Afal Pikein, Li also, Al Daita Machshavah Schutz Chas V'Sholem, they never even thought the Machshavah of denying in the Eibishter. That's Mesiras Nefesh. I just want to mention, and if they would have a Machshavah, who cares what they have a Machshavah? Wouldn't help him anyway. In other words, if Haman would know what goes on in Machshavah, you could say if they'd have at least a Machshavah Schutz, Haman would spare them, and the Mesiras Nefesh, they didn't have a Machshavah Schutz. But how would Haman know what they have in their mind? So the Rebbe wants to explain, or it means the Malach, the Sar of Haman, or maybe Take Haman would know. Haman was a Mechashev. Haman was a Keich HaKlippah, so he was able to know. So anyway, so the Eden went on Mesiras Nefesh, not to deny the Eibishter. Besides that, Hoyle, Mesiras Nefesh, Gamakim, Atera Mitzvahs, Porsche Mesiras Nefesh, to keep Torah Mitzvahs, Bachet, Ikhilu, Hilis, Barabim, Lum, Torah Mesiras Nefesh, to gather together to learn Torah Mesiras Nefesh. They say that it's a Mesiras Nefesh, Lem, Hoysaldi, Mordechai, Yehudi, Shem, Mesha, Shebedera. And this is say that a Mesiras Nefesh came because of Mordechai. That's the pshat, that in the time of Mordechai, the Yidden really were makabel what they started before, because Amat and Torah is like a haschol. His man Zeros Haman or Isakabolet. Amat there was just the beginning. Here they really accepted it. Why? Because in that time they had Mesiras Nefesh B'Peil. So the Taka reached a higher level of Matan Torah. Because of Matan Torah there was no Mesiras Nefesh. And only then Taka was the real Kabbalah of Kibbutz Yehudim, more than Matan Torah. That's what the Friedrich Rebbe said. So the Rebbe wants to bring this in to say maybe this is the connection. The Kasha before was what's the connection of the Inyanim. He said, let's try this. That this biur is the connection. That's what he says. So we could say, Schapiro is because it's Lamoyer. That by the word, that what he said the pshat kosis lamoyer means. Kosis means broken, crushed in golas. And that makes you reach the moyer. That is the biur al zeh shebizman hagzeiret af kebolim mesiras nefesh b'rit na'el yisef. That is, that kosis lamoyer is connected to this piece. This piece we just said now, the mile of mesiras nefesh, that's why bizman Haman was greater than Matan Torah. That's the connection to the kosis lamoyer. Mesiras nefesh, why? Mesiras nefesh, etzem haneshama neshama ma'alim min gilui. Mesiras nefesh comes from the etzem of the neshama, which is higher than gilui. That is called moer. Shemamenu nimtza hoye. Moer is the source of it. That's not gilui. So to have mesiras nefesh, you have to have the revelation of your etzem. Because they were not massive of being crushed. So the etzem on the neshama was revealed. So that's the connection. So when he brings the union of kosis lamoyer, that through crushed in golas, you reach the etzem, that's connected to this union that he said in the Maimer in the beginning, that in the time of Achashverosh from Haman, the Yidden were in a higher madrege because they had the kosis and they had the mesiras nefesh, which is the etzem, which is the moyer. So these two parts fit together. So the beer and kosis lamoyer, with this beer of the Maimer of why by time of Haman was a greater madrege in the time of Matan Torah, they fit together. But the question, so Mele, that's a connection. Aber avol mehemshech l'seder anyonim ba'Maimer, but the way the Maimer is set up, Schapiro, the kosis lamoyer, bo la'achar inyan d'rayim mehemne, that inyan of kosis lamoyer comes after, not after this inyan of the Kibbutz Yehudim. This comes after the Friedrich Rebbe brings in this inyan of rayim mehemne. He's mashme the inyan kosis lamoyer shayach gam lezeh shemesh zodim afanas samuna sheti b'pnimis. Is connected also to this. The fact that we explained that Moshe Rabbeinu and the Pashtus of the Moshe, he brings emunah in Pnimius, that's connected to the kosis lamoyer, because that's the seder of the Maimer. First he brings the Kibbutz Yehudim, then he brings the sinyan of Moshe Rabbeinu and the Pashtus of the Moshe. Then he says al pizeh we understand the kosis lamoyer. Had he not written in the middle the sinyan of the Moshe Rabbeinu with the Pashtus with the emunah, you'd understand. He says the Kibbutz Yehudim, the Maila of the time of Haman, because of Mesiras Nefesh. And now we understand the kosis lamoyer, because if you have kosis, which is the crushed in golas, you reach the etzem, you reach Mesiras Nefesh, which is the moyer. But in the middle, he hacked around the Moshe Rabbeinu, bringing emunah in apnimius. Must be that's also connected to this union. What's the hemshech? Let's learn a little bit more. Yesh Labayir Zalpi Ayidua will explain this based on what is known. Says in other Maimorim Chassidus, says from Bais, this that the Yidden have a munah pshuta, simple munah in the Eibishter. The Ein Tzrichem Rayas al Zeh, they don't need any proof, which is a strange thing. A human being is about seichel to believe something without any proof. Strange. Why does a Yid have that munah pshuta? This is two reasons, and as we'll see, it's not two pshatim. Could be this reason, could be this reason. No, they're both true. They're two madreges. What are the two madreges? One madreg is because the mazel of the neshama sees it. We know that not the whole neshama comes down into the goof. Most of the neshama stays lamaila. The neshama lamaila, which is called the mazel sheba neshama. Why is it called mazel? Doesn't see this because the word mazel comes from the word nozel. Nozel means dripping, because the neshama lamaila has an influence on the neshama that comes, part of the neshama that comes down. It drips down. So that is called mazel. So the mazel of the neshama, which is the way the neshama is lamaila, that neshama shalamaila reya elakus, the neshama sees. Which reya is lamaila me'aseichel. It's not seichel. See, he says he's trying to explain why a yid has a munah pshuta without seichel, without rayas. Rayas is seichel, because the neshama lamaila sees elakus beyond seichel. And when you see something, you don't need seichel. When do you need seichel? Something you don't see. So I have to be explained. It's so and so. Have to have sforis why it is and how do we know it is. But if I see something, it's very clear. So since the neshama lamaila sees elakus, so that makes it down here. The yid has a munah, doesn't need rayas, because the neshama gets from the neshama lamaila. In other words, the neshama lamaila sees it. Down here we don't see it. But the neshama lamaila, like I said before, drips. It drips and is mashpia and the neshama lamata. So since the neshama lamaila doesn't need rayas because it sees it, The neshama lamata doesn't need rice. That's one veer. Eight veer, another explanation. There's another thing, that the reason the neshama down here has a real amunah, it comes from the etzem neshama, which is beyond this level which we call the neshama sees the lakus. What does that mean? The fact that the etzem neshama is connected to a lakus, is kashas atzmis. That's an essential connection. It's not based on any reason, any cause. Not even from a riyah. The first level we said you see. You see, when you see something and you know for sure it's there, it's two things. There's me and there's what I saw. But since I saw it, it makes it clear by me, I'm sure, because I saw it. But it's still two things. There's a reason why I know this is true. I know this watch is here because I see it. And I know for sure it's there. But there's a reason for it. But there's a higher madrega than the neshama is be'etzem alakus, one with eibishter. But male, obviously it's a lakus. So that's a higher madrega. It's like you'd say a person knows himself. Why? Because he has a raya that I exist, a raya I'm here. No rayas. I am here. Not, that's me. So I know I'm here. So we know the eibishter because in the neshama itself, that's chelik of the eibishter. Yesh leimar, so Rabbi adds, the difference between these two explanations, these two inyonim, who the first level that the neshama down here has a munah pshuta because the neshama, the etzem neshama up there sees a lakus, it brings a munah, but the munah is still makif. It's not really you. What's the chiluk with makif and pnimi we said before? Pnimi is you eat it, becomes you, it's you, becomes you. Makif is, it helps you, like I said, clothes, you get dressed nicely, people do it, it enhances you. You could tell from clothes what kind of person this is, but it's still not you. So when you say that we have a munah because the neshama sees a lukus, and it brings us a munah, so it has like a munah pshuta, but it's still makif. Why? The neshama l'mayla mislapsher, sin the neshama l'mayla is not mislabish in the bottom, in the neshama down here. It's not mishlabish in the goof. It can't come in the goof. That's why it didn't come down. So the part that came into the goof is a lower madrege. The part in the neshama l'mayla is a higher madrege. It can't be mishlabish in the goof. It has a hashpoah. It's nasal. It drips in. Has a hashpoah. So the mayla has a munah. But it doesn't make the amunah to be real and part of you. In order for the amunah to be in a pnimius, and the real pnimius means it becomes part of you, part of your life. By the gila is kashes atzmis etzem neshama. That's for the second reason, because the neshama be'etzem, the etzem neshama is one with eibishter. Because after all, as much as we said the neshama l'mayla is not mislabish in the goof, but if it's the etzem neshama, it's the etzem of the part of the neshama in the goof also. We know kol etzem built in mischalib. The etzem is not divided. You can't divide an etzem. An etzem is not divided. Etzem essence is something that is on the kuda, which is all over. I learned this mimer in a different place a few days ago. So I explained. I remember Rabbi Jacobson used to give a shir in Chassidus. He's a mashpia in some 70. So he used to talk about this inyan. So he says, "L'moshel, you have a piece of wood, holtz. If you cut a piece of wood in half, you didn't cut the holtzigkeit. The nekuda of holtz and the nekuda of wood, it didn't change. The kamos changed, the amount. This was a big piece, a small piece. The nekuda of holtz is the same. So the etzem neshama is the etzem of the whole neshama of all the parts. So sof kol sof, the etzem neshama that not sees a lakus, that is one with the lakus, is the etzem of the neshama in the goof. The mele even down here becomes in the pnimius. So this is the inyan of the beer, why it has emunah pshuta in the pnimius. Now we could fit already the hemshech of the inyanim and the maimer. So inyan, the kosis lamoer, this inyan that he said, kosis means if you're crushed and you're in golas, you reach the darg of etzem, but behemshech, the Friedrich Rebbe brings the behemshech to the beer of the inyan of Rai Mehemne, and we ask the kasha, what's the connection? There's two inyanim. Rayim Hemnimis, it gives a money in the Pnimius. Then there's another thing, Kosis Lamoyer. If you're in Golas or you're crushed, you'll reach Etzem. What's the two? Now we know, because they're the same thing. This that we're saying at Moshe Rabbeinu. And this Pashtus Moshe. Make feed a munah that should be in the Pnimius, because he's Megala. How could he do that? We just finished saying, in order for the neshama, for the person to have a munah in the Pnimius, you have to be Megala the Etzem HaNeshama. So when we say Moshe Rabbeinu brings the munah in the Pnimius, in other words, means he reaches the Etzem. He's Megala in every person the Etzem HaNeshama. He reaches the Etzem HaNeshama, which is higher than Mazle Chozib Moyer Shalamayla. When we say the first level that the neshama sees a lukus, that's air light, you see. And when you say in the pnimius, when it's the etzem of the neshama is a lukus, that's moya, that's not air, that's not giluk, that's you. Like I said, you know that I'm here because I'm here, not because I look down and I see I'm here. I bet I am here. It's me. Same thing here. And now when he says Kosis Lamoyer, and he explains the Maim Shekdei, like Lamoyer, they have in the Kosis Golas. In order to reach this Moyer is through Kosis. The reason is Ki Iker Hagilu the Etzem HaNeshama Moyer, because where is the main part of the Gilu of the Etzem HaNeshama? The Inyan Mesiras Nefesh. That's the Mesiras Nefesh. Iker is Managolos, mainly is Managolos. Kittul Lakama, I'd like to explain further. So I have a Shaila now. And I need to answer. Should we continue the Maimer or should we stop here? What?
Continue.
Continue. The best Farbrengen.
That's right.
We have to Farbrengen. This is the best Farbrengen. Is the Rebbe's Maimer. Okay, let's go back. So, how far do we go? As far as it goes. So, the consensus, I mean, most people you can't see, so you can't.
We should go by Mesiras Nefesh in the Maimer.
We should? What?
Go by Mesiras Nefesh in the Maimer.
No, Mesiras Nefesh, but the shaila is this the right thing to do? Or we should get into say L'chaim. You know what? We'll stop for a minute and say L'chaim.
What do we say by Farbrengen? We shall learn the Rebbe's Torah, right? So learn the Rebbe's Torah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. You know, let's make it. You know the Ma'asim to the Hillel. The Hillel got a balagolot, and he went to the Tzemach Tzedek. He wanted to go to Tzemach Tzedek. So the Balagola made up with him that if you want to reach on time, you shouldn't daven so long, because on the way we stop and it'll take long, we'll never get there on time for Shabbos. The Pale, they went, and he took along that Chassid and came to daven. He davened for hours. So the guy told him, made up that you're not going to daven because otherwise you can't get to the Rebbe. So he says, what's the meaning of going to the Rebbe? Going to the Rebbe is to feel a lukus. So he gave a moshel. A moshel, you have a seicher who's going to some far city to buy certain merchandise. And he wants to get there. What happens if in the middle he happens to find a guy who's selling the same merchandise? So you have to, no, how could you buy the merchandise here? You have to go over there. Same thing here. The whole Indian is to go to be closer to the Rebbe, or closer to the Eibishter. So now, I got the merchandise in, I felt it. So I should give that up. Same thing here. The whole idea is we should be able to learn the Rebbe's Maimorim. Here we're learning it. Okay, we'll go weiter. Maybe this will be the best. Okay, we'll do that. I'm asking. I just wanted to know that if the Elam is asking. And I hope you're speaking for everyone. But you said it's right. That's why I assume it's right. Well, Inyan who, so to explain this Inyan, we know the Hemshech of the Maimer, but now we have to explain why is it that Mesiras Nefesh is how the Etzem is Nizgala. Why do we need, that's what he's going to say. That Iker Hagilu Etzem and Neshama Moyer is Inyan Mesiras Nefesh, Kidol Kaman. That's what he's going to explain now. Inyan who, the Pshat is like this. Zesh, one of these Yisrael Beis Moshe makes an afshel, this, that Bayid is a Munah. And the Munah is so strong, Bayid, that he Poshet goes on Mesiras Nefesh. Mainly, it's the Munah that you have from the second level. If you have a Munah only, because the Neshama L'mayla sees a Lukus, Lav Dafke would go on Mesiras Nefesh. The Munah, Mitzazeh, Shurei, Mazli Chozeh, the Munah that comes because you see it, the Neshama L'mayla sees a Lukus. Hagam Shubetake of God, it's very strong. We know that the truth, the uplake by a person when you see something is very strong. You see in the Hori says, Shaloch and Ein Deit Nasadayim. That's why the Gemara says, Rebbe wants to explain this by Riches. The Gemara says that a person, by Din the Foshes, if a person himself, he was a judge. He happened to see someone kill somebody. He can't be the judge in this case. If he's the aid, he can be. The Gemara says why? Because one of the qualities of an aid by capital cases, the Pasuk says, "V'shofto ha'edo v'hitzilo ha'edo." The aid, the dayan has to have an ability to see a schus, to see that the guy is innocent. You have to see, able to see guilt, you have to see innocent. But the Gemara says, since he himself saw the guy do it, he'll never see the innocence. So the Rebbe has a shaila, what nazach? If two Eidim come and say, we saw the guy kill, and the Torah says, Ab Shnayim Eidim Yokum Dover, so you know it's true, and still you could see him being innocent. So why can't it be when you saw yourself? The answer is, when you saw yourself, it's different. Seeing is the up lake, and that's it. So we know that seeing is very great. It's very strong. Therefore, the fact that in the Shama, the Maila sees a lakuz, definitely brings you a munah, very strong. But the Kolma can still keep Shamunah Shalim Mitzat Siba. Since the money is for a reason. Mitzat Zeh Shareya. Because he saw, that's the reason why he believes. The Ein Kshuri Metzim Mitzusah, that's not connected to his own Mitzias. Not necessarily that he will give up give it Mesiras Nefesh. Because after all, it's not him. So he doesn't say these words, I'm going to say it myself. Why would he give up his life, which means giving up of himself? The Munah is not him. See, if the Munah is him, so he's not giving up his life. This is him to not to do whatever. He goes on Mesiras Nefesh. But if it's only because of a reason, so it's lav dafke go Mesiras Nefesh. The fact that the Munah is so strong that he will go on Mesiras Nefesh is only because that's his etzem. So it's not possible that you should deny it. So this is showing how the inyan of Mesiras Nefesh is connected to the etzem of the neshama. That Mesiras Nefesh comes because of the etzem. Now we can explain what it says in the Maimer. This is Moshe Rabbeinu is the Rayim Mehemne, which means that he feeds the Munah. He says that it's also going to give the leaders, the shepherds of the Eden in every generation. They strengthened the Munah by Eden. That's what it says in the Maimer. So they would go on Mesiras Nefesh to keep Torah mitzvahs. So he's connecting it that Moshe Rabbeinu, just like Moshe Rabbeinu feeds that the Munah should be in a pnimius, so too the Moshe of every generation makes sure that the Eden should do Mesiras Nefesh. It's two separate things. It doesn't look like it's the same. That's what he said before. Mordechai is like Moshe. Mordechai was mamshel that the Eden had the Munah in the pnimius. And Mordechai also, what did he do? He made the Eden have Mesiras Nefesh. What's the connection? L'chura, zeh shemeshe zonum fanetzes amunah. This is that Moshe Rabbeinu feeds the amunah, which means makes it in a pnimius. Who it is? Kimavur bekamer mekemes v'gamer maimer ze'atzma. Says other places in this maimer also. Al yedei shemashpia liyisrael das belakus. That's what it says. Moshe Rabbeinu is mashpia, and the Eden they should have an understanding in the lakus. Shal yedei zeh bo amunah b'pnimius. If they understand the lakus, the amunah comes in the pnimius. That's Moshe. And zeh sherei Yisrael shebechol dei machasken ne'amunah. This is what we said, that in every generation, the leaders straighten the amunah, hamavur b'maimer, as he's explaining this maimer, who shamunah tibeh from the Mesiras Nefesh, should be Mesiras Nefesh. Before he's not saying that. Before he's saying amunah should be in the pnimius, Moshe. And by everyone he says should be Mesiras Nefesh. Sounds like another thing. It means that it gives you the strength to go on Mesiras Nefesh. What's the connection? So obviously the only connection is if they're the same thing. If going on Mesiras Nefesh is the inyan of amunah in the pnimius. That's why he puts it together. That's what he felt. Pianalga based on what so it makes sense. The inyan of Raya Mehemna, which we said he feeds the munah, it means that it's the munah itself. Means that the munah should be not only because of giluy, because the neshama sees the lakus. That the Raya Mehemna means that they bring that the Eden should have a munah because that's your etzem. We said that what does it mean that he was mefanes the munah? He made them have the hasog in the munah, so that's a different thing. So he says, there it was a result. If you have the real munah, because it's the etzem, your etzem, So then the result will be that you understand it. That's a result of the fact that you have the emunah and you have the emunah mitzad etzem neshama. Then you'll have das. In other words, it means like this: not in every generation do you need mesiras nefesh. So in a generation that you don't need mesiras nefesh, so what does it mean emunah in apnimius? That you'll understand it. The same thing is megala de etzem. That's why you understand it, but you don't see the real etzem begilui. Ukenal hey. Canal see, like I said before, the amshochas amunah b'pnimis, the das. What makes a yid have amunah in apnimis? Which means in your mind it's clear. When your neshama is mekusha today be'etzem. So the two things we write by Moshe and by the other Moshe of the generations is the same. Here it's the union of having amunah in apnimis with das, and here by others it's having mesiras nefesh. It's the same thing. It just by the case of Moshe, it wasn't Nizgal in Mesiras Nefesh. There was no need of Mesiras Nefesh. There it was Nizgal in the Inyan that they really understood the Lakus. But that's the result. And the Kudi is that he's Mamshech Mapnimius, and the only way, as he said before, you could Mamshech Amun in Apnimius, if it comes from the second level, from the fact that the Etzem HaNeshama is a Lakus. So now we could say something else. This, that in the generations that they needed Mesiras Nefesh repeal. Chis Korea Yisrael is Pashtus of the Mesha, someone in the Yisrael, Mesiras Nefesh. So the Reya Yisrael, which is the Pashtus of the Mesha, strengthen the Amunah to get the Mesiras Nefesh. Nizgala or Inyan that I am Hemni being a Yesim Mesh Atzmi. So the Inyan of being a Reya Nemon, meaning Mefanes the Amunah, was by the later generations more than by Mesha. Because to bring the emunah as it is inside the etzem neshama, which comes from Mesha or the other Meshas of every generation, when is it the gilui more than mesiras nefesh repeil? So it doesn't mean that Mesha Rabbeinu didn't do that. But I would say everyone is like Mesha. So Mesha was mamshich the etzem neshama. Ubamela they had emunah, but it didn't need mesiras nefesh. So it never came down to a gilui. So they understood the lakus. If you need mesiras nefesh, it's more begilui, because like I said before, what's that gilui? Gilui means you see it; it's visible. He said before, if you have the mesiras nefesh, if you have only the first level, because the neshama sees the lakus, it not necessarily will bring you to mesiras nefesh. So if you see that it does bring you to mesiras nefesh, it's visible that this comes from the etzem neshama. That's what mesiras nefesh is. So you could see it comes from the etzem neshama. So by Moshe Rabbeinu, the fact that he was a reya and he brought emun in the pnimius was not so visible. It was visible in the fact that they had das and lakus, but it wasn't really visible. Mashenkin in later generation within Mesiras Nefesh, it's the same thing as Moshe, but it's more visible, more begilui. Hina Yedua, we'll go a little bit more. Now we know when did this Mesiras, we talked before, Mesiras Nefesh, by Mordechai's time, it happened at the time of Purim. It's Mang Zeros Homer. It wasn't the only time of Mesiras Nefesh, so he said Mesiras Nefesh, the Chanukah, the Mang Zeros Yovan, the Chanukah, Mesiras Nefesh, Hoise Biki Bermatis Yovanov. Was mainly by who had the Mesiras Nefesh? Very few people. Matis and his children. Most people didn't. Time of Haman was by all the Yidden. That explains why in the Maimer he brings from the Medesh Mordechai Yeshokol B'Deirei K'Meshe B'Deirei. He brings Mordechai. That Mordechai in his generation was like Moshe. Agamlish Pasusha the Moshe B'Chol Dor. Every generation has a Moshe. So not even Mordechai. Why from Moshe to Mordechai you waited? There's all the generations before. Only on Mordechai they say it. Why? Leib, you could say, Shema Milas the Mordechai Yehudi. What's the Milas of Mordechai? The fact that the real Rayim Hamni is that he is the Reya Neman, brings a Munah Begilui number one, and to all the Yidden. The Dugmas Moshe Rayim Hamni, just like Moshe the Rayim Hamni, Shehim Shechdas L'chol Yisrael Shebedere. He brought it to all the Eden. The whole generation of Moshe is called Deir Deya, because Moshe was mamshech to everybody. So who is like Moshe? But the truth is, in every generation, the Pashtus of the Moshe, the Rebbe of the generation, is the Rebbe of the whole generation. But you don't see it. All the generations, where did you see really that everyone is is from the whole generation? You could say this where has a Elam and a lot of followers, and he bring out. Where do you see that he was from the whole? Not very seldom you see that. By Moshe you saw it because he was in the middle with all the Eden, and by Mordechai you saw it. What it? He brought them on in the Pnimis. In which way did it express itself? That he brought das to all the Eden. Moshe brought out the Kirch HaMesiras Nefesh in all the people. So the Frierdiker Rebbe brings this to show that the closeness to Moshe is Mordechai, because it's Negei, the Gilui to see how your mom shared this to all the Eden. Because the Rai Mehemne means the Rai and Neman of all the Eden. So you have to see this by all the Eden. Where do you see it by all the Eden? By Moshe you saw it in his way, by Mamshir Das, and by Mordechai in his way. Now, Yashlema the Rebbe, so you could say that maybe by Maime, that when he brings the Frierdiker Rebbe brings in the Maime, that Mordechai in his generation was like Moshe in his generation. The Frierdiker Rebbe pasken this on himself. That he is the Raya Mehemne, the Gilui from everybody. Because he says it in Mordechai, and by Mordechai it was in the time of when there was a lot of Gzeiras, and Mordechai had Ashpo on all the Eden. And the Frierdiker Rebbe, the Rebbe says also the same. Because I know that the Rebbe, many times when he spoke about Yud Bais Tamuz, he explained, Frierdiker Rebbe writes in the letter that this I'm not the only one who went out of jail, but every Yid went out of jail. Why every Yid went in jail? So the Rebbe said many times that Reiv Minyan and Reiv Binyan of Yidden lived in Russia at that time. So when he was arrested, it wasn't just against him; it was against Reiv Yidden. And when he went out of jail, so Reiv Yidden went out of jail. So in his time, yes, his ashpoah was on all the Yidden in the world. From Mela, whatever he says about Mordechai, he says on the Frierdiker Rebbe also from all the Yidden. Now, what we do is we go a step further. The same way the Rebbe says that since the Frierdiker Rebbe writes it, it goes on him too. Let's go a step further. The Rebbe says it on the Frierdiker Rebbe, pasking on himself also. And the emes is by the Rebbe, we see it even more than we see by anybody else. The Rebbe's hashpah on the whole world. Because he begilui hashpah. Now, one of the things, to be honest, is because of the matzav in the world. Because of the technology or whatever, the way the world became a small world, and because 300 years ago, in one country can't have an ashpah, another country very far. So that could be added to it. But the fact is that the Rebbe's ashpah is on the whole world. So the gilui, that's Menachem, it's not allowed to get Mesiras Nefesh, but it probably is Mesiras Nefesh. Not Mesiras Nefesh of Tzoras, Mesiras Nefesh of Ashiras, also Mesiras Nefesh. Let's learn one more sif. Now we can understand the whole connection of the Maimer. The beer aposik vatet tzave when he explains the posik atet tzave. Shebetchila mabayras apirish vatet tzave is bnei Yisrael. First, the Frierdiker Rebbe explains what's the pshat of the posik vatet tzave. Shemesha makasher machabes bnei Yisrael made a sof. And Moshe Rabbeinu connects the Eden with the Eibishter al Deishuzon and finances Amona by feeding them the Amona. That's what he said first. Then he says Shagamrei Yisrael Shebechol there is Pashtus the Moshe. Also the leaders of every generation, which is this Pashtus the Moshe, also machasken the Samud of Yisrael. Do the same thing. They machazek the Amona. Mordechai, which is the Moshe Shebedei, just like Mordechai Shechizik Samanosan Shel Yisrael, that he strengthened the Amona la'amit chazek b'limud atayda v'kim mitzvah. Stand strong in learning Torah and doing mitzvahs. That's the hemshech. Tzavata Tzave says that Moshe is Makasha the Eden, and he continues to be Masbir that Moshe Rabbeinu is Mamshech Emunah Apnimi. And then he says, not only Moshe, but also all the Rei Yisrael. And now we understand what's the hemshech to Kosis Lamoyer. The kasha was, he says that Moshe Rabbeinu gave Emunah Apnimius. Every Moshe, the generation, does the same. And then he says, Kosis Lamoyer, Kosis, if you're crushed in Golis, you have the Etzem. What's the connection? Now we know why. Because when he says the Pirish Kosis Lamoyer, which is in the posik of Atet Tzave, he's talking about Moshe himself. That's the touch Atet Tzave, you. Because this, that Moshe is Megala the Etzem. Moyer, which he said is the Etzem of the Neshama, will be Iker al Deis Pashtusa delayed, mainly not by Moshe, mainly by the Moshe of other generations, Shabbos Managolos, because that's when their kos is, and that's when you get that Etzem on Neshama. She'erer be Yisrael, Keich HaMesiris Nefesh, and Erer the Keich HaMesiris Nefesh, Shal Deizehu Iker Gili Etzem on Neshama. That's the main Neshama. So we know the Hemshech. So after the Tzava first as Moshe connects to Eden, and then he explains what Prat connects Eden and brings them one in Apnimius. And then he says that all the generations do that. And all the generations bring the same thing. And one in Apnimius, in which way? By Megaladim Mesiris Nefesh. And then he says, so now we know what Kos is, because Kos is brings them the Etzem HaNeshama. That's the Moyer. So the whole Hemshech of the Maimer fits. We'll learn the next little piece, the Kasha, not learn the Teretz. So everybody will be stopped with a Kasha, and you won't be able to sleep at night because you want to know the Teretz, so you might wake up in the middle of the night to learn the Maimer further. Anyway, Tzorech Lahavin, so we have to understand that the Bira now, according to the whole explanation, the Kosis Lamoyer Shayach Levatet Tetzavet Le'ezbnei Yisrael, the Kosis Lamoyer connected to Atet Tetzavet, you will connect the Yidden. It's connected to the fact that Moshe and the other Moshe of every generation connect the Yidden to and Sof. But Kosev Nemar in Posik says, Kosis Lamoyer, it says, Behemshech Vayikcho Lech Hashem Azayis. It doesn't say it's Tam Benegei Behemshech to Vata Tetzavet. At the beginning of the Posik Vata Tetzavet, then it says, what should you do? Yikcho Lech Hashem Azayis. And then it says Kosis Lamoyer. The Inyan Vayikcho, what's the Yikcho Lecha they should take to you? We touched in the beginning of the Maimer. She Yisrael may be in Shemal Moshe. They bring the Shemet and which means She Yisrael may see from taste the same Moshe that they didn't add a Moshe. Based on Maimer, and that didn't have a beer here. The way we sing here, so far we have no beer how it adds to Moshe. The whole beer of Kosis Lamoyer is behemshech to V'atet Tzavas B'nei Yisrael. The Tzava you connect. Connecting means you bring on the Emun and the Pnimius. And when does that happen? When it's Kosis Lamoyer. But in between that, the Posik said, V'yikchoy lech Hashem azayizach, which means that the Yidden are Meisif in Moshe. And then he says the word Kosis Lamoyer. But according to the Pshat till now, the Hemshech in Posik is not understood. That's the Rebbe Shaila here. But anyway, just to say in short what the Rebbe continues later, not as answer the Kasha, but the main thing the Rebbe says that there's two types of Kosis. Kosis Lamoyer means you're shaken up. You're crushed in Golas. Why are you crushed? You have tzoras. Chas v'sholem, Yidden have tzoras and Golas and the crushed. What about if you have no tzoras? Live in a nice country and everything is fine and good? You still should be Kosis. Kosis is not because you have tzoras. Kosis, why is there no Gili Lakus in the world? And that could be by the biggest tzaddik. A biggest tzaddik who himself has Gili Lakus. So what's his problem? What do you need Mashiach for? Gilui Lakus. He has Gilui Lakus. But he knows that not everybody else has it. And as long as not everything in the world, every corner in the world has the Gilui Lakus, a siman that even the Gilui Lakus that he has is not Bli Gvul. Because if it Bli Gvul, it would be all over. And that's the Kosis. The Rebbe is basically in the end of the Maimer describing himself, his way of feeling constantly why Mashiach isn't here. That Kosis, that brings to the Etzem. And then he says, that adds to Moshe Rabbeinu, that's the Yikcho Lecha Kosis, that's the higher level of Kosis. By the Rebbe Taka, just to finish off with the Farbrengen type of thing, first of all, Chaim. I saw the bracha before. The Rebbe was explaining himself. He couldn't, and you saw when the Rebbe spoke about Mashiach, he was crying. Was longing, he couldn't understand. How could it be? It bothered him so much. What bothered him? Why is there no Mashiach isn't here? Why is there no Gilui Lakus in the world? And that's the Kosis that brings it to the real Lamoyer. And that's the thing is that the Rebbe wanted we should feel the same way. That's why when the Rebbe said that time that if people would meet with an emes, Mashiach would come. What does it mean with an emes? To really bother you. Why doesn't go? And the Peil Mamish, We're still in Golas, obviously. The Rebbe said you could have 1, 2, 3 people would be. Because he brings the Maimer from a Maimer of the Alter Rebbe, from Tikkun Zeir. It's not so clear in Tikkun Zeir. But if there be one tzaddik who will do real tshuva, Mashiach would come. So the Rebbe connects, what does that mean? If there'll be a real Gilui Lakus, even in one person, that means it'll be Gilui Lakus in the whole world. But as long as it's not the whole world, it means by him it's also not Gilui Lakus. And that's the Kosis Lamoyer. So this is the last Maimer the Rebbe gave out, even though, like I said before, the Rebbe didn't. See, the Rebbe never said which Maimer to give out. Just like in the Sichas, the Rebbe never said which Sicha to prepare for the Shabbos. Never said. I can't say never. Out of all the years, I know 2 cases that he said that this week he should give out this Sicha. But Bechlal, about never. The same thing with Maimorim. Rabbi Yoel looked through the Maimorim, the old Maimorim, decided which one he feels easier for him to prepare or better or whatever his cheshbeinos were, and he gave it into the Rebbe. So this he gave him for Purim Kotten that year. So it's not because the Rebbe chose it. But nevertheless, the Rebbe für die Welt, and the Rebbe für die Welt. So it worked out that this Maimer, which describes the Rebbe clearly, is the last Maimer the Rebbe gave out. And also the Rebbe gave it out to give, not only gave out to print and people learned it. He handed out the Maimer. When it came out, he asked that they should print 10,000 copies, whatever amount of copies, and he gave it out. So this is like the Rebbe's, Savoy, so to speak, like the Basi Lagani. Which also, like I said in the beginning, also there, the Rebbe didn't write the Basi Lagani for Yuchvat. He gave it out for Yuchvat. The Rebbe used to use the Lashon, the Shvet Taruiz gegem. The Rebbe Taruiz gegem af von seinem Stal, because he doesn't say he wrote it, because he didn't. It's old Maimer, Tzaddiks. He just changed the Dibber Maschal. That's all. But still, the Rebbe said that this is a Savoy that if you need, in the beginning, first year, he said, any answers you need to any shilas you have, you can find it in the Maimer. So here in this Maimer, you can find what the Rebbe is. And that's, so it's negated to Gimel Tamuz. Because Gimel Tamuz is when we talk about and we straighten these kashrus. It's time, see, on one hand, see, when it comes to Gimel Tamuz, which is after Gimel Tamuz, when you don't see the Rebbe Begashmiyas, it makes it harder to have his kashrus. When you see the Ein Bosser, we don't see it Bein Bosser, so it's hard to have his kashrus. Because we're human, not inside the Rebbe's side, it's on our side. It's on the fact that we are Gashmazdike people, so to us, Gashmi is a state of Mokim. Chazar was the word for, I think it's the question Tzarmagid who said to his son when he was older already, I failed on myself that my goof is not goof anymore. Oh, Shomer, Gadol, so his son says to him, Tate, how come when I touch your goof, I feel goof? So he said, because you're touching with goof. It's your problem. Because you're touching with your goof, so you feel goof. So it's our problem, but Lapel, that's what it is. So we are Gashmazik people, so for us, when we, before it was, the discussions was mamish obvious. From Sveitner side, sometimes, I have to say from the fact is that sometimes when you're missing something, you feel more to appreciate it than when you have it. It's nature. Because you're missing it. So when it comes to Gimel Tamuz and you think what we're missing, the Gilui, in Etzem we're not missing. You have to avoid this. The Rebbe is there. We see it, but otherwise a million things don't make sense. How the Lubavitch is. But the Gilui we're missing. And when we feel it missing, then it's Me'erer Agaguyim, a longing, which is Me'erer Iskashas. So derech like the Maimer, the Mittel Rebbe's Maimer, I remember the Rebbe chazed it. Shabbos Parshas Yisrei Tovshin Chov Daled. The Mendel Futterpass was there. So the Rebbe spoke about the Russisch Eden. He said the Maimer started by Daver, the kid was called Vormeiler, but in the middle of the Maimer, he connected it to a Maimer of the Mittel Rebbe, where the Maimer starts with the words, Lahovin Inyan Lekichas An Shechayel. Time the Mittel Rebbe was the Kantonisten, and they would grab Yiddish Kinder, and they would force them to work for 25 years and want to force them to shmad. So the Mittel Rebbe said in a Maimer, what's the Inyan? Why does Davish do that? And in that Maimer, he explained why Davish does it. Because the Sultan comes to Davish and says, you see, even though they keep mitzvahs, but they don't have any tainug in it. They don't do it with a gishmak. Mitzvahs, no, but they just do it out of habit. It's a kitruk. No, Davish says to the Sultan, so like this. I want to show you. It's not true what you're saying. How will I prove it? Let me take it away from them. Let me make it hard for them to do. And we'll see what will happen. So the Eibishter made it hard, made his gzeiros. And the Yidden had such sar for not being able to do it. So you see, the thing is, tsar and tainug go together. The two opposite ends. If you're missing something, you have tsar. Is a raya that when you have it, you have tainug, because tainug and tsar go together. So he wanted to prove to the Sultan that when the Yidden don't have it, and the way the Rebbe was crying by that maimer, he spoke about the Russish Yidden, he connected it. And a Yid cries, he said, Alalai oy veli, all kinds of lashonim. So he was crying. So the Rebbe shows, you see, they have tsar, they have tainug. I'm using this as an example that when you're missing something and you have tsar, that brings out the tainug in having it. So the iskashras sometimes could be helped by feeling what you're missing. And then when you feel that you're missing it, but the pale mamish, it's still there because we know that the Eibishter gives. Oh, so the fact that you had tsar by missing it, then you realize that you have it, that gives you the biggest tainug, that could give you the biggest iskashras. And how do we have it? Is basically learning the Rebbe's stated. There's two things Rebbe said. Khaled says in all the sichas and memorim and the letters, the really iskashras comes to learning the stated. But once the Rebbe by Farbrengen spoke, and he said that someone asked the Rebbe Rashab, what's his kashras to the Rebbe? The Rebbe Rashab answered, his kashras to the pu'ules of the Rebbe, which basically means to do what the Rebbe wants. So here we're saying his kasha is learning the Torah. Here we say his kasha doing what the Rebbe wants. Well, that's and they both, and they go together. If you learn the Rebbe's Torah, you will know what he wants you to do, and you will start doing it. So it goes together. But it has to start from learning the Rebbe's Torah. Learning the Rebbe's Maimorim, learning the Rebbe's Sichas. And now it's much easier. Now I mean mamish now. Why? Because they have this project, look at the Sichas, that they have every week, all levels, shiurim on the Sichas that are the Sichas of the week in this project. And you could get it in a very easy way, get it in a more eonic way. Sometimes I even give them, because now the Sichas that are now, I have some of the Kisvei Yad, the Rebbe's Magia. They give out Kuntresim. I don't know if it gets, or you guys will see it ever. In New York, they give it out, goes, and you can see the Rebbe's Hagos, and you could learn the Sicha much deeper when you see what the Rebbe changed and what the Rebbe crossed out and what the Rebbe added. It gives a different understanding in the Sicha. So now it's much easier. So I think one of the achlotas has to be from this Farbrengen is, and especially Gimel Tamuz, is to strengthen the learning of the Sichas. The Rebbe put himself in the Sichas, gave time for the Sichas, gave so much time away, put himself. It's important to learn. Important, or you learn the Mamorim, then you learn the Rishimas, you learn the Rebbe's Igris. There's also a big important inyan to learn the Farbrengens, not the Mugadik Sichas. I'll have to tell you this. The Mugadik Sichas is the most important one because you know that whatever you're learning is true. When you learn the Sichas Kedesh, which is Hanocha written from a Farbrengen, you never know. I could tell you, I could tell you from experience, I know what Hanocha is. Hanocha is the person who wrote it down the way he understood it. First of all, maybe you don't remember everything. And if you do remember, maybe you didn't understand it properly. So that it's good. The Rebbe writes in Akdama to Teira Sholem, which he printed, the Sichas of the Rebbe Rashab. The Rebbe writes that some of the Sichas are not mugi by the Rebbe Rashab. The Rebbe writes, but since the people who wrote it were Chassidim, and Chassidim probably every word of the Rebbe was precious, so we assume that Bechlola's Dinyan is right. So you could say it on the Anochas also. Again, we can't compare the Menachem who wrote the Sichas by the Rebbe Rashab, the Menachem who wrote the Sichas by the Rebbe. I could tell you that, and I can tell you that from experience too. So the pale, the Mugadik, that's the. On the other hand, I just want to tell you, on the other hand, to get a feeling of a Farbrengen, you won't get from the Kutei Sichas. The Kutei Sichas is a Teire. A Kasha for Gemara, a Kasha for Rasha, a Kasha for Posing is a beer. The Sichas Kedesh or the Teires Menachem, which you live the Farbrengen. They have smiled. To be by a Farbrengen was a special experience. Special experience. By being by the Farbrengen, you felt in Gan Eden. That's true. And you felt the Rebbe, very, the emes is the earlier years, much more because it was a smaller crowd. It was, more Hamish, as we could say. Later, there was a big crowd. I once heard from Savishim Sachos, he used to live in Crown Heights. He told me that he used to come to Farbrengen. Savishim said, the youths, Tazayan, Yudayan, those years, and he says, you love to come, and he would hear the Rebbe talk, and he would cry a lot. He says, now, later years in the memes, he says, I stopped coming because it's not for me. He says, the Rebbe talks about Welt in Yonim and talks to the whole world, and he couldn't understand that. I'm saying the first year is more Hamish. But even later, being by Farbrengen is a matzav of, and you only get that from seeing a video, obviously, and learning the sichas. So you see the expression of the Rebbe in the sichas. All these zeitige Sachen were taken out. That's a sefer. That's a kasha mit a teret, mit a beer, mit a boren. Here is the Rebbe talking. So that's a mila. So it's kedai to do. So everyone should take it on themselves to learn the sichas, learn the Maimorim, but also to take the Teres Menachem, which is easier and it's more understood because they wrote it out, and to take in. I know somebody in our community, actually it's Moshe Marvin, took upon himself like last year to start from Tov Shin Yud Teres Menachem to go through Sikh after Sikh after Sikh. Just to say there, whenever you have a chance, you open it up and you go further. So you get a feeling of the first years and the later, and you get a feeling of being, part of the Rebbe's life, the Rebbe being part of your life. If you're going to look at the Sikhs, to a certain degree, the Rebbe's Torah, but same like you learn a Maimer of the Rebbe Rashab, the Rebbe's Torah. So this gives you a certain feeling that you have, and I think that's something that people should do. Anyway, Gimel Tamuz, and have to take it serious, and have to give the Rebbe something. It doesn't have to be very big, but something that people do a little bit. Brechen sich, doing something that's not so convenient. A little bit for the Rebbe's sake, which is for the Rebbe's sake, because the Rebbe only wants us to do what the Rebbe wants. So l'chaim. No, Yisrael. Sach picha v'yeiru dvarecha.
I did my share in shul already. That's it. It's your turn.
My turn. I did my turn now.
What else? Penny is next to me on the screen.
Oh,
Penny Herman.
good. Let's hear from you. Maybe this is the rain check.
That was the rain check. I don't know. I'm still trying to. The 30 years of giving out. Now I'm trying to make up for all the years I didn't get.
The word is well touched. Says that Moshe was upset at Aaron and the children why they burned the korban, and Aaron explained it to him. So the pasuk says, "Vayishma Moshe vayitaveinu." So Moshe heard what he said, and he said he liked it. The well touched. Moshe Rabbeinu always was talking. Vayishma Moshe. Once he heard. Vayitaveinu. I'm gefällt worden. I'm both up in hand. Anyway, go ahead.
I don't know what to say. Right now, I don't know. It's no. I think the point that you just made is I never thought of it that way because I haven't really gone into Sichas Kodesh as much as really trying to get through Likutei Sichas, but. And B'chlam better Farbrengen. My Yiddish wasn't what it should be, so it was. It wasn't the easiest thing to get through, but it is an interesting amtzah to the mile of Sichas Kodesh over Likutei Sichas. Yeah.
It can't substitute it because the Sichas is MS. Ober has a certain mile, a certain chaim.
Yeah. I think one of the things that just in hearing different Farbrengens and different things, I'm a bit of a Simon Jacobson fan. So not my own chidushim or anything, but one of the ideas of taking time. I remember learning it. I think it was in the Friedrich in the Sichon Friedrich in Kites. I think it was in Kais Tafshin, where I don't remember exactly, I think it was there, where he talks about the whole idea of being mitzayir in your mind, the tzir of the Rebbe, to take moments during the day or during the week or whatever it is, to just, it's so easy to forget. I mean, even for shluchim, we're on the Rebbe shluchas, but you can get so bogged down in the details. I think sometimes we forget what the bigger picture is all about. What's going on. And so to take time, like when you have to sign a get the motion. So in the beginning, before you sign, you have to say it's the Shem, the Shmur, the Shmuel, the Shem Gerushin, and right, and then you start writing, right? For those of us who are not as behavent in signing exactly the way it's supposed to be on a get, you're sweating trying to make sure that you're writing the letters exactly right. So you said at the beginning that it's the Shem Gerushin, so that covers the whole signature. But during the time that you're writing this thing, you're too busy making sure that the Reish is close enough to the Vav and all of those kinds of things. And so Chura, the same thing. I mean, just to take moments during the day. I mean, it says also why Tfilas Mincha is so unique that literally in the middle of the day you stop your work and you take those few minutes to have mincha. Chura, it's the same thing. That during the day, whether it's, I don't know, maybe you can even set your phone to go off. It's at 11 o'clock and at 3 o'clock. And take a few minutes, push it, close your eyes, and whether if you had the schools to be by Farbrengen, then be mitzayir what that was like, and if you had the schools to be in Yechidus, be mitzayir what that was like, whether Yechidus Pratis, Yechidus Klolis, whatever it was. And if not, I mean, we have enough. Never enough, but we have tziurim that even those who didn't have the schus to be there. There's so many tziurim to push it, to take a moment to push me mitzayir, the way the Rebbe looks and the way the Rebbe is, whether it's by singing and the way the Rebbe is encouraging it, or the Rebbe stood up, or by the sicha, or during nigunim. The Rebbe, you would see sometimes the Rebbe during the middle of a nigun, it just looked like the Rebbe was somewhere else, and then all of a sudden it's like, it looks like the Rebbe, looks around and says l'chaim to somebody. But those moments where the Rebbe's in that kind of dveikus, it's like, what world is the Rebbe in? And those are all in videos, and we can all have that tziyur. And then also just and this was, I think the Rebbe wrote this about the Rebbe. I would push it to take moments to think about as Leib the Rebbe, and just to have that in our minds and our consciousness in a consistent way, to remind ourselves what we're doing and why we're doing. Because I'll tell you, being now not in the official shlichus world, I honestly have a newfound respect for Balabatim that I never could have appreciated. Never could have appreciated. What it's like to be involved a whole day in other things and then to schlep sich to a minyan, to schlep sich to learn or whatever. It's a very, very different world that I had no idea. I push it. I have a newfound respect for Balabatim. So I guess this is and this is what Gimel Tamuz reminds us of, is that to remember what we're doing, why not just what we're doing, but why we're doing it and what it's all about, and to really take moments during the day to get that sear back in our head, that we remember what we're doing here, what this is all about. So l'chaim. I don't have my l'chaim on me, but
I'll say for you. Okay, I think we'll leave it with what you said. That's the best thing to go to sleep with. So I think we'll leave it like this, and soon we'll be with Rebbe again.
It's too short.
What?
It's too short. Rabbi Schapiro,
Yeah.
don't stop it. It's Gimel Tamuz. We can't go to sleep now.
Finish the mimer.
Okay.
Rabbi Schapiro,
Yeah.
Shining Mimer, the Avona in Mimer.
Okay.
It comes out that basically we need both things. We need the Kosas Lamoyer and the Nosi Hador, the Ureya Muno.
Yeah.
And he finishes the Mimer later on in Siftes, Ches, Tes, Yud. Says that the Neshama versus Treisel, as is in Shocking Gilo Lakus. Right? That's the Kosas today.
Okay.
There is so many Maimorim. The Rebbe says that if it does not nicht Gilo Lakus, no Thomas the Rebbe will Kabbalah sale. So, wie wat man zu Treisel, as the Veis, as the sagt in Margel bekommen der Rabbi sagt as lernen Teres zu sein, okay, man.
The pshat is, why should you be to Treisel that there's no Gilui L'Kus? Not because it bothers you, because you need it. It's because the Eibishter, it's like Golas Hashchina, the Eibishter is missing it. So you're doing it.
Gesagt, ich will nicht ein Ganeden.
Yeah.
Sagt, will es, was will, nicht was der Rebischter will.
Nee, but will does, weil will, that's a problem. Because I want that, it's also a problem.
So what did the Alter Rebbe, what did he mean when he said?
That means in Yiddish, there's no other way to express it. So you say, ich will nicht ein Ganeden. In other words, not because ich darf das, because the moment you say, I want this, it's already no good. Then it's you. It's attached, this is what the Eibishter wants. So what I'm asking for is that the Eibishter's rotzen as a chusvin. There's an interesting siche, actually, in Parsha Shlach, Chelik Lamet Ches. The Rebbe has a very, he goes into, it's going to take a few moments to explain it. It goes into Rambam. The Rambam says that a person should not do mitzvahs for schar, not schar gashmi, not schar ruchni, not for Gan Eden, not for Elam Haba. And then he says that this is the derech of the Nevi'im and of the Chachomim, that they don't do it for the sake of Elam Haba. Then the Rambam writes in Hilchas Mashiach that Leinisavu Chachomim Limeisa Mashiach, only Kadesh they should be ponui to learn Torah, Kadesh Yiskol Elam Haba. And he says that in Hilchas Tshuva. The Rebbe has a chakashe. So what's the pshat? Then there's another thing. In Hilchas Tshuva, the Rambam writes something else. That you should do it l'shmo, Eisa ha'emes v'pnei ha'emes. And then he says, V'lei kol chocham zeichel hazeh. He says in that previous pedic that that's the derech of the chachamim. So the Rebbe explains like this, there are a few madregas. There's one madrega you do it for schar elam haba. You want elam haba because it's schar. So you learn Torah, so you'll get elam haba, it's schar. Then there's another thing. Elam haba is gilui lakus. So you're not doing it because you want schar. You want Posha to be closer to the Eibishter. So what the Rambam says that the Chachomim, derech Chachomim is not to do it for Elam Haba, needs not to do it as schar for Elam Haba. But when the Rambam says they want Mashiach in order to get to Elam Haba, it's not because they want schar, they want to be close to the Eibishter. Fine. Then the Rebbe says, when the Rambam writes in the other place that you should do it not for a schar, but you should do it emes v'pnei emes, v'lei kol chocham zeichel hazeh, the Rebbe says that's another darge, because doing it not for schar, doing it because you want to be close to the Eibishter, take eich nicht. It's for you. I want to be close to the Eibishter. So the real darge is there's no mevukesh. I'm not looking for anything. I'm not even looking that should be gilui lakus. But what is it? Your rotzes of the chosfin. So the Eibishter wants there should be a direh b'tachtein should be gilui lakus. That's the feeling that you have to have. You want the Eibish's Ratzon Zalach Lisra. That's the Kosis. That's Sikh, he explains it very geschmack, very. What's the Nigla? It's more Nigla. In Rambam, explains it in Rambam. So you should be no mavukish. You're not interested in anything. Not even in Gilui Lakud. That's Taich. You want the Eibish's Ratzon just to fulfill.
Der alte Rebbe guckt uns gewollt etwas anders.
Nee, dat heb ik een hechte madrege. Dat heb ik gewollt, de kleine is in de rotten alien en dat zie dat. Met gezegd, mijn Weg sogar Englisch gefunden niet. Mijn Tier.
Okay.
Anyway, okay.
Shakaya.
Rabbi Schapiro,
Ja,
for whatever it's worth, I want to say something.
goed.
Gimel Tamuz, Tafshin Samach Daled. So 10 years after Tafshin Nun Daled. So I was working at Cornell in Manhattan. And I worked with Dr. Resnick, Alav Shalom. It was just few weeks before he passed away. He shared with me a lot of stories, but just one story I want to share, because you spoke about the chashivas of the date Gimel Tamuz. So Gimel Tamuz was Motzai Shabbos. So Shabbos, Bais Tamuz, he tells me, I was in the hospital, I was with the Rabbi all day, he said, all day. Shabbos by Mincha, the time was very close. I'm not sure if he said that the Rabbi already had a few episodes of his heart stopped working.
Yeah.
So
They revived him, they brought back,
So he told me in one of those times, he all of a sudden remembered that when you give somebody a lot of blood pressure medications, one of the elements that is missing in the body is magnesium. So he told them, give him magnesium, a few doses of magnesium. That's going, B'ezrat Hashem, to increase the blood pressure. And he did. So it worked for about 6, 7, 8 hours until I think it was 12:30 at night. So I think so the story shows me how one person at one time can make such a big difference, between Bais Tamuz and Gimel Tamuz. And it shows me the power that Hashem gives each and every one of us, that with a small act of just remembering something, doing something, can make such a big difference on the entire world.
Yeah. That's what the Rebbe said many, many times. One person, well, the Mishnah says this. Lama nivra adam yichidi, to show that the person is a Elam Olei. And the Rebbe says that other Rambam, which quotes from Gemara, to do one pu'ula, machriya is a Elam Olei. One thing can do it, yeah. But the fire is one Meshuggah is a time. Hey, the bat. Meshuggah gemacht the ganze Welt. The ganze Welt, and it's still Mishtachal Meshuggah. That's what it is, yeah. And the Rebbe Taka pushed that. He always used to say that. One of the themes of the Rebbe, that every person could accomplish so much. Yeah. Halavai, we would believe in ourselves as much as the Rebbe believed in us. Trust, he said, ich habe euch übergegeben, ich habe alles, was ich kann, nicht tut. Okay.
L'chaim.
L'chaim v'livrocha. Yeah. Okay.